Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned in to The Encourager, and my name is Nehru. I want to go ahead and continue with our angel number readings. The the gentleman that I'm renting from, he just walked by holding a dog, and it's a decent sized thing. It's probably 50-pound dog or something. Just came. I guess maybe their dog was in the car with them or something. I just thought I would mention that. I don't know why that's significant. Something dealing with the dog. I am a dog lover, and in fact, the bracelet that I wear specifically has a paw on it for a reason. The journal. I actually went back when Most High guided me to start recording this. I was also reminded to get the journal previous that covered 14 to 17, so 2014 to 2017 for our newer listeners. And so that journal, I wanted to go back and look at and share with us the things that the Prophet shared with me and Judy in the Aldi in Castleberry, Florida in 2014. Okay? And this was done on 4/18 of 14. That's an 18/9/9 and a 14/7/7. Okay? And again, this gentleman came up to us, right? Dark skin, wearing like a sports, like kind of like maybe like one of the old school, like Adidas type jogger suits type thing. But his was black and it was red and it had a bunch of things written on it, like it just had a bunch of stuff on it, like patches and words and stuff like that, right? But it was an outfit. It was, the pants and top or whatever, shirt, whatever it was, jacket, it all corresponded with one another, right? So he spends probably 30 minutes in the store talking to us. Okay. One of the things that Steve told me when I told Steve about this, Steve said that, he said it wouldn't take, and it doesn't take 30 minutes for someone to tell you things about themselves in order for you to see whether or not they're telling the truth or not, right? So Steve brought up that point, which is a valid point, okay? So there's a such thing as overkill. So again, that's why I try not to make videos that are longer than an hour, for one, because I don't know, I listen to my own videos, but that's because I'm listening for things, one, for other synchronicities, and I'm also looking for corrections, because I say things, and when I get to going, my mind is shut down. It's not on, and so I'm just the throat chakra, right? And so again, I say 2002 when I mean 2022 or 1995, and I might say 2005, like it, and then I have to catch myself, and I try to make mention of that in the next coming video when I remember to clear whatever else that was up that I said. So I deal with those things. So anyway, yes. So on 4/18, let's take a look here in this journal, and again, there is, for those newer listeners, if you go to the playlist, there is a journals playlist, okay? So 8/14 of 18. This is actually, I tore out several pages of this book. Well, maybe just a few, actually, maybe just a few. This was, we'd had for a long time at the Rock of Central Florida. They did a Kingdom Dynamics class, and essentially it was the equivalent of adult Sunday school, right? But it was great. It was really insightful. It was kind of really, someone kind of guided the class. But it was an open forum type of thing, and it was really, I enjoyed those a lot, actually. But that's me. I enjoyed conversations about deeper things. That's why I leave women who can't keep my my attention intellectually. Right? That's one of the reasons why I have left past relationships. Okay. So today, while shopping with my mother, right, in Aldi, we met a guy. I just got up right because I don't know. Titles are, that's why I crossed that out. Okay. Concerning evangelistic anointing, again, I mentioned that he told me that was my only place. My place, he phrased it the way that religiousness does, and he said full-time ministry. He said that's your place. You don't have any other job. I don't care what you're doing right now. That's ultimately where you are. And at the time, I was a year and 2 months into dialysis. Okay? From IgG4 nephropathy. Right? Dialysis for 4.5 years. Okay? So, and interestingly, he didn't mention anything about that. And I like to think because he wasn't concerned, Most High already told me it wasn't going to ruin or end this natural life. So I wasn't concerned about it at all. It was just a matter of waiting and being faithful during that 4.5 years, okay, to not lose faith. And I didn't, okay. Okay, so here it is. So he says, your wife will come at the end. Okay, he told me every woman that I meet up until that point is a counterfeit. Okay, Judy was standing right there. She might lie and say she didn't hear him say that, just like she lied and said she wasn't there when Kevin held a gun to me when me and Matthew came in from playing basketball when I came home on leave because I threatened him because he took my wife and daughter from me when I was in Germany serving our country overseas. And she's still with him today following his instructions as he sit in a jail cell. There will be twins. I don't care if it's 2 boys, it doesn't matter. Okay? He said 2 boys, it doesn't matter. In a marriage, okay? And again, I went through all these things, right? And this is in part why Most High has me doing this, is so, and I just heard this is such a confirmation. I just heard someone say this. They said, you need to get a journal if you do not have a journal, because a journal is a way that Most High reminds us of his promises. Okay, and so this is what Most High is doing. I just happen to, now he has had me create this platform a year ago, and so I'm using the platform to share with all of us and how we can grow, mature to the challenges that I've gone through, that are like legitimate, documented 3D situations. You know, I actually was on dialysis for 4.5 years. You know, that's not I didn't pull that out of my ass just to come up with 4.5 years of dialysis. You know what I mean? I got 3 kidneys. I can show you them bitches if you give me an X-ray machine. Yeah, like I'm like real deal here. You know, so that's in part, and that's part of what a witness's job, as part of what a testimony is supposed to do. Okay, it is supposed to encourage others. Okay, that's part of what it does. But it is reminding me of things that Most High said to me. And when I was still had some shrapnel in there, right? From the blast, from the karmic party happening on the East Coast. Then once I decided, and that's my free will ego. So there's so many different egos we have to go through, ego deaths we have to go through. So there's an ego death associated with being a husband. There's an ego death associated with being a wife. There's an ego death associated with being a father. There's an ego death associated with being a son, with being a mother, with being a sister or a brother. There are ego deaths associated with each and every role that you play in someone's life, and they play in yours. Okay? Again, that's why you show up and they show up in your lives for various reasons. Most often, it's for a lesson, whether it's for you to learn, them to learn, both to learn. Okay? Right. So, he opened checking and savings accounts. He told me I would need to open up several accounts. He said, you need to open up several, like 5. I didn't put 5. But he said you need to open up like several. Like, you need to open up several accounts. He said, because you're going to need them. That's what he told me. Okay. I will be given a vehicle. Now, he said it was an Escalade. I don't need an Escalade. That's way too big. What do I need something like that for? Right. The other day I mentioned I've had luxury sedans forever. So I've had Audi A8Ls. I've had Mercedes S550s. I've had Mercedes S450. I've had Lincolns, although that's 20 plus years ago. I primarily deal with foreign cars. I don't buy any American-made cars. People might not like me for that. The only American-made car I would ever buy is a Ford Mustang and a Ford truck. I would never buy anything from Chrysler. I would not buy anything from Dodge. I would not. Again, your preference. That's just mine. Okay, just saying. All right. Well, maybe not anything. Maybe I would get I wouldn't mind the Harley Davidson truck, the Ford Harley Davidson truck. I wouldn't mind one of those. Only because they're one of only so many limited that they make each and every year. If they still make them, I don't even know if they still make them. But there are not too many domestic, auto manufacturers here today that I really, So, but he did tell me, he said, someone's going to buy you an Escalade. And in fact, the vehicle that I was driving, and again, if Judy tells the truth, she can attest to this. The vehicle that I was driving at the time did not belong to me. It was borrowed. Okay? Because I was on dialysis and I didn't have energy or time for employment. And so we got by with what little bit I did. And yeah. So wherever you spend, and Judy had just moved here that year, actually, shortly before, probably a month before that she moved here, if not like 2 weeks. She had just gotten to Florida. Okay? I had just picked her up from Mississippi. Wherever you spend your time is what gets your attention. Okay? So wherever you spend your time is what gets your attention. He said a trip to Ohio would be necessary. That trip to Ohio happened later that year. Literally a few months later. Okay? So like summertime sometime. And the reason why I went to Ohio was to testify against Kevin, who had finally been arrested in 2014 and was going to be held accountable in the legal system of this 3D. It's not a justice system. 13 minutes exactly on a timer. Stop saying that. It's not a legal system or a justice system. It's a legal system. Okay? So, to testify against him in this legal system that we have in Detroit, you can look up the case today. Kevin Nehru Thomas versus the state of Michigan or something like that, right? You can look up that case online. Okay? He's even appealed it once. Okay? But he accepted a plea deal or pled guilty not knowing what the judge was going to give him sentencing wise. The judge ended up giving him 40 to 60 because he found out who was going to be there testifying against him. It was myself, a lady named Denise who had been with him since 1985 and finally left in 2009. It was the young girl who was now a woman that he got pregnant at the age of 15 in 2009. That was the big reason why. That was the big ticket. Kevin Garnett is the big ticket. That was a big ticket that he got stamped, right? And so then there are a bunch of other little things here and there, right? He had the women steal checks and all sorts of credit cards from companies and all kind of shit over the years. At least one woman served jail time for another woman who ended up enlisting into the United States Army at the age of 35 to avoid jail time. Because one of the women was a rag doll to him. He pistol whipped her. He treated her like shit. Okay? Ironically, no it's not, that is also the mother of the daughter that he got pregnant. Okay? Yeah. Some good stories. Got some good stories. A place is full-time. So my place is full-time ministry. and no other occupation. Okay? So I just wanted to share that with us, and now let's get back to the journal that we are currently in, that covers 2016, actually. They overlap a little bit. 2016 till this year. Okay. So let's find out where we are. I think I left off on the Red Hot Chili Peppers page or something. I remember trying to remember how Dark Necessities went. I couldn't remember how it started out. Okay, so 127. I have never experienced the supernatural events of last night. Okay, so I was coming out of my dark night of the soul at the beginning of 2023. So I was coming out of my dark night of the soul, and I was definitely starting to experience some amazing things, and a lot of them have to do with esoteric travel and that sort of thing. So much of it. I was meditating then. I would do 30-minute meditations. I would do them like, man, so many times a day. It was, a lot, right? Because there was nothing else for me to do. All of my clients had dried up. Witchcraft and smear campaigns had killed all my clients, stolen everything. I even had to resign from the nonprofit board I was a part of because of all the witchcraft and everything that was going on. Like, literally everything had dried up. It was me, Sadie, that's my Cane Corso, that I also had to get rid of once I got to Arizona, okay? And so all of this was the enemy's plan, okay? The Scorpio didn't even like my dog, okay? We got it together. She was 11 weeks old when we got her. I had a picture of her that we took together at the breeder's place in North Jacksonville, Florida, okay? And when I showed her the dog, she didn't even know what a Cane Corso was. When I showed her a picture of the dog, she said that she fell in love with the dog and blah, 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 right? But her knowing that she had kicked me to the curb and I was sleeping in my office after the company in Lake County, I was staying in Lake County Monday through Friday and driving back to Central Florida on the weekends. Okay? All right. Somebody's getting some mail. I just saw the mailman pull up to the mailbox. So, special delivery. Is that from a PBS Kids show? So, she, okay, was doing whatever she was doing Monday through Friday. No doubt that was fucking people. Okay? So, when she's doing that Monday through Friday, and I'm in Lake County, a couple of counties away, an hour and a half on the weekday away, and easily 2 hours on a Friday. And on a Friday, I would literally drive back. In fact, the shocks on the Audi A8, the last one that I had, went out, and I still drove it up and down the highway. I had no choice. Everything had dried up. So by this time that I'm starting to come out of the dark night of the soul and everything, right? And at the house in Deltona, I have nothing but time. Okay, I have my VA disability, but that's it at this point in time. I have nothing else. I know eventually I'm going to have to relocate. Okay, in June, Most High told me to write on the August 1st that I was going to be moving. I didn't know how, I didn't know when, I knew when obviously at that point, but I didn't know how, I didn't know anything, I didn't know where I was going, I didn't know anything. Okay? But the day came when I had to empty out the house, I put everything on the curb except the clothes. I took those to Salvation Army or Goodwill or something in Daytona Beach on my way out. Okay? So, yeah, so I was seeing some amazing things, okay? So it says I sent an email. That was probably my first email to Steve, telling him about her, and he didn't believe me. So, was that my first? Yeah. Probably, yep. The second one I did not send until I got to Arizona. And that was just simply letting them know that I relocated out of the state of Florida. And I don't hold anything against him. It's all forgiven. And there's no nothing. I sent him that email. I never got a response. This is from someone who calls themselves a minister at the Rock of Central Florida. His name is Stephen Lee Parker. He doesn't like Stephen. Okay? So, ministers, let's be religious about this for a minute. Okay? Let's not even go spiritual. Let's be religious about this for a minute. You a pastor. Aren't you supposed to be caring for the people? Why are you gonna treat that boy like that? He served you for 20 years. That ain't right, preacher. Is that religious enough? Just from being a human being. Someone sends you an apology, what are you gonna say? Thank you? Something? I mean, really? Nothing. Again, when people show you who they are, you better believe them, because their ass will burn you forever. Forever. Okay? 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 So, this says, I love you, Scorpio, and only hope of fulfillment and best wishes to you and your family. Be free. Be free, my friend. Okay? See that? It served all its purposes. Thank you so much. Okay? 2/11/23. Justina Miranda, again, that's her bestie. She is the mother of the kid Noah, who I said I mentioned he's one of the 3 children that have in recent years been strongly attracted to me. Noah, when I met Noah was probably 2, maybe. But yeah, he's one of the many. And so yeah. Oh, so she sent me a text message. So check this out. She sends me a text message on 2/11/23. Okay? Asking, she never texts me. Never. I don't even think Justina likes me, to be honest with you. I really don't. Once, I don't know if they feared me taking Roxanne from them. I don't know what was the fear. But I really got to a point, the last time I saw Justina, I was over Roxanne's house and we were having a conversation and Justina stopped by. I think she was maybe dropping off Roxanne's daughter. Okay? So, the Scorpio's daughter. Shit, I really shouldn't be saying her name. But anyway, Justina is a Scorpio, by the way. Okay? She's one of the, 5 or 6 Scorpios that the Scorpio, born on 11/13 of 74, right, fell off the wagon. So, if they were ever on the wagon. I don't even know if they were ever on the wagon, to be honest with you. Again, the kidney story and all that might be a bunch of bullshit. I don't know. So, yeah, she might be a master craftsman in the deception and lying, manipulating, narcissistic category. I don't know. Again, who knows? Okay? So, Justina texts me and asks me, did I call CFS or Children and Family Services on her? And I'm like, excuse me? I'm like, no. Oh, by the way, Feds, that phone number is 407-600-1395. It was with T-Mobile, and that number is no longer. I threw that phone out the door with the chip or SIM card and all that. I threw it out the door in Mexico somewhere on my way to Arizona. So that's where the phone is, no doubt crispy by now, given that it's almost been a year. But anyway, that's where that phone is, right? But you can contact the company and get those text messages. So, and she asked me, and I'm like, are you kidding me? I had already left the Rock. Okay? And I'm like, no. I would never do. Why would I do that? I think you and Sam are great parents. I would never do that. And she's like, oh, okay. I just thought because of the stuff you were saying, the lies you were telling about Justine or about the Scorpio, right? And I'm like, and I just said, oh, okay, and gave her a thumbs up, and that was it. She never reached out to me again or nothing. Scorpio, nothing, right? I'm just saying, everyone. I'm just saying. Okay? Most people ignore those indicators. Most High told me 15 years ago, started showing me indicators. Okay? The Scorpio was good. Okay? Masterful. Again, a craftsman at their craft. Right? So yeah, it's asking me if I called I call it DCFS or DCS, on her family. And I'm like, So, I wrote down something involving a life insurance policy and something about an adoption. So Justina and Roxanne, and her, the Scorpio, they both have adopted. I hope these adoptions are legal. Okay? So, Roxanne, the Scorpio tells me that she was promised a daughter, like when she was a teenager, by the Lord. Okay? But she had something go wrong, and she couldn't have any more children after her son Daniel. 27 minutes exactly on the timer. So when the medical doctor told her this, she was a little discouraged because she always wanted a daughter. Well, her and her former husband, or current husband, however that goes, they adopted this girl who was an infant at the time. Okay? She's a teenager today. So they adopted her, and then Justina, from what I understand, has adopted her cousin's kids. Confirmation with the phone call ringing. Who is this? I don't know who that is. Maybe they'll leave a message. It's Pasquale Roland. It's probably a robocall. So anyway, it's funny how that happens when I'm on the video and I'm recording and I'm on a roll, and it's fun. Isn't that interesting? The phone hasn't rang all day except for twice. I was recording the angel number reading this morning and recording this now. Those are the only 2 times the phone has rang. Okay, 28 minutes. So, all right. We just went from 9 to 10, 27 minutes to 28 minutes. Okay? So I wrote down an aunt and a judge. Were they doing like illegal paperwork for these adoptions or something? Is what I wrote down, and that was a question. Okay, that was a question. There was no reason for her to reach out to me. Why would she think I did it? Like, that doesn't make any sense. Out of the blue, I hadn't talked to her in months. Hadn't seen her in months. Why would she talk? I hadn't seen her since the previous year, 2022. Why would she be thinking that I did that? Because I sent an email to Steve? How the fuck did she even find out about the email? She wasn't copied on it because the Scorpio told her. And they were probably laughing and cackling about how Steve shot it down. Yep, well now Steve's scrotum getting sliced. Now what? So, 131:23, sticking to my truth. I don't need anything from the past. People are created, and so they can be erased. Meaning from you attract things. So because you attracted it, you can stop attracting it. Watch for the return of the Scorpio, and here we are, hot damn. I don't know. I know what the answer is going to be. What are your intentions and desires? So you remember, So that's the question you need to ask everybody. Anyone who you are entertaining for any reason. Oh, you want to be friends with me? What are your intentions and your desires towards me? Oh, you want to date me? What are your intentions and your desires towards me? And then listen to what they say, and then listen to what they say. Okay? Don't ignore my intuition. That's a message to us all. Don't ignore your intuition. Divine love, boundaries is love. Okay? Even in a beautiful marriage, you have to have boundaries. Because if you don't, it's chaos, right? Yeah. 2:19:28. Transcending time. Outside home, I went back. I went back to Longwood Drive. Man, my handwriting is terrible. Ran up the stair. So you've heard me talk about Nikisha Henry, okay? So I've only mentioned this I'll have to ask for forgiveness later from her if that shit ever, I don't know. Anyway, this girl, she's a grown-ass woman now. She's 44, I want to say, right? Amazing supermodel. Like, she's not she could be a supermodel. She's a model. She could be a supermodel. She's like 6 feet, statuesque. Like, she looks amazing. Anyway, she was diagnosed with diabetes at the age of 12 back in Illinois, when her mother was a part of all the nonsense for a couple of years that was going on with the sperm donor and him being a polygamist and all that nonsense. Okay, so she told me after we got back in touch with each other in 2018, she took 17 or 18. She told me that he would take her and put her in the closet of the master bedroom at that house in Naperville, Illinois on Collingwood Drive. And he would have her sit in the closet with the door open and make her watch him with these other women. I'm talking about an 11, 12-year-old girl, people. She told me this. She didn't tell her mother until she was 16. They were long gone by then. 33 minutes exactly. She told him she couldn't even bring herself to tell her mother for years, even after they had left. Okay? We all have an opportunity. We can grow flowers or we can make atomic bombs and drop them on people. And so in this vision, and this was a vision, right, during meditation, okay? And so I went back in time, I went into that house, I ran upstairs, and literally in this time jump whatever thing, I went into the house, I grabbed her arm, and I ran outside, okay? And the police I went outside and stood outside, me and her stood outside, in the same driveway that we used to walk down, or the same cul-de-sac we used to walk from to go play basketball across the street, at the other cul-de-sac where there's a basketball rim. Okay? And so I go upstairs and I run upstairs and I snatch her and go outside and I tell her that I called the cops, and we go sit in the cop car and she puts her head on my shoulder and I come out of whatever timeline that is, 1980, 88, 89, somewhere in there. No, Naperville. No, I started high school in 89. I started high school, August of 89. So this had to be 1990 maybe, right? Okay. And so, fortunately, her mother got the hell out of there, okay? probably because he saw that he was starting to eye her daughter. Sick ass. Okay. So I grabbed her by the arm and we ran outside, okay, and yelling at him as he came out of the house. And she and I get in the back of the police car. She's sniffling and shaking. Oh, she was sucking her thumb. Okay, and then I opened my eyes, right? That also happened a couple of other times. I do not physically know these individuals today, but literally in one case, during meditation, I was walking down the street like some country road, okay? And fairly modern, maybe 40s, 50s time, 30s, 40s, 50s time frame. I'm walking down this dirt road and I see there's this child, blonde, short-haired, blonde-haired child in the gutter, in the whatever, laying in the gutter, right? And I go, and again, this child was just left there or whatever. Again, go help this child, get this child, save this child. And again, I think I've had 3 experiences like that. The only person that I've known is Nikisha so far. Okay? So, yeah. All right. So, again, these were some experiences that I had never had. That's why on this page, that's why it says like, wow, holy cow, like, see? That's why it says all that. Because I was starting to, it was starting to get interesting for sure. The journey had picked up a little bit, right? So, Jimmy Cooper, all right, not the Jimmy that we are aware of that we have been mentioning in our journals. This is the only time I mentioned this Jimmy Cooper, just Jimmy in my journal, right? So, conversation saved a child thrown in a dish. See, there's, yeah, blonde-haired girl. Okay, and I don't know. What does Jimmy Cooper have to do that? Jimmy Cooper was someone who I grew up with while we lived in the projects, and we were a part of Christ Temple, Apostolic Faith, Church of God in Christ, right? We were a part of that that religious mess for a number of years. I've always known that religions are religious, even when I was a part of religion. Okay? Always knew it was a quack. That's why I stayed closer to Most High. And in fact, probably pulled closer and closer as time went on. Okay? There was a point in time at the Rock, I don't recall exactly when, but when the every Sunday thing, it just got to be mundane. Go to Sunday. A and B selection, they don't have a choir, well, at least not officially like most religious organizations do. But, you know, they have a worship team and musicians and all of that, right? One or 2 songs, maybe 3. Steve speaks. Launch and we go home. Find out about Jesus, that he rose, that I might have life. Find out that I could be a son. Found out what sonship is. So that's a step above staying at the altar. Okay? The worst religious churches keep you tied to the altar. You need to beg and plead for Jesus. You need to ask Jesus. That right there is the epitome of Satan. That is the epitome, right? So, yes, right. Jimmy Cooper was a guy I grew up with. He was several years older than I am. I think Jimmy might have been born in 1970, 69, somewhere in there, maybe even 68. He was the eldest son of a family that we, again, were a part of that church in Joliet, Illinois. And interestingly, the same gentleman, last name Moore, still is the senior minister today, right? And we're talking about going back to the early 80s. He's still there today. Okay. Jimmy was the eldest son of a family of like 12, I think the Coopers had. And fortunately, life is what it is, right? Several of their children have passed today. The father, whose name is also James, right, is still with us as far as I know, physically, still here, okay, still a part of Christ Temple. So there's something about a first and a second. So he's James Cooper Sr. Jimmy is James Cooper Jr. There's a James James the Second at the Rock, or James Jr. at the Rock, and there's also a James the Third at the Rock. There's two sets of Jameses at the Rock. In fact, triples, although the grandfather of one does not go there. Okay, so you have a grandfather, a father, and a son named James, and then you have a father and a son that are named James. The father and son named James. The father is Junior. The son is the third. Okay. In fact, I used to call him J3. All right. So, dream. Touring a large empty building. I've had that vision many times. So that could be office space. That could be just realizing it's time to move on. Where I was empty. That could be a number of different things, right? As it speaks. I don't know what it meant to me at the time, but I had it and it meant something to me at the time. 3/9/23. Man at an office making an offer to me, but he's a snake trying to trick me. 3/9/23. So there is going to be someone, again, anything that we do, anything that high vibrational people do that we share with you on YouTube or wherever we happen to be. I don't have TikTok. I'm not going to get TikTok. To me, TikTok seems like, I don't know, it just seems like a narcissist. I don't know. It just seems like I don't like TikTok is, I don't know. I'm just not interested in it. So anyway, so everything's in timing. Everything's synchronized. So coming across this today, we know that Apophis, right? We learned about him recently in the last 2 days. Enemy, Satan, Jezebel, Lucifer, Luciferian, demonic, Lord of Chaos, is the spirit that has been tracking divine feminines and masculines since the beginning of time. Robbing, cheating, killing, stealing. The snake is going to return. For those of you who are on the same timeline or a similar timeline, is going to return one more time and try to trick you if they can. Some of them, they won't be able to get to you. Okay? 3/10/23. So Justina reached out to me, and then AJ reaches out to me. He said he was just calling to see how I was doing. I appreciated it. I told him thank you. He asked me what was going on. I said I told him I decided to go spiritual, and I've done away with church. Okay? Dream. Okay? Scorpio and I get to one of her disclosure, forgiveness. Okay, so we get to, okay, so maybe that opportunity will come. We are, okay, so yeah, maybe that will happen, right? And if so, that's all it's going to be. And again, she listens to the channel just so that she's aware. Just so that she's aware. That's all it's going to be. It's going to be forgiveness, and that's going to be it. And that conversation can be had over the phone. There's no need for any type of in-person meeting. Okay? Most High didn't move me 2,050 miles away in order for me to, to return to the vomit. And yes, I did just say that. And yes, I did just call them that. That's the energy that they were in. I look over at her and oh, okay, so see, man, she's disappointed, but that's okay. She'll have another lifetime to make it right. Okay? This says, I am not staying with her or the Rock or in Central Florida. And it says, I wake up. I let her know I'm not staying there. Or I'm not coming back or whatever. Okay? So, here we go. 312. 13. Chris, also a part of the Rock. We've talked about him. Oh, he's been in here before. Again, we were close at one point in time. Sent me a Facebook message, and he was he had a tax question. Okay? Again, he contacted me on 312. 2 days prior, it was AJ. Keep in mind, Steve never did. Steve never did. Kim never did. Okay? No other person from the Rock of Central Florida ever contacted me other than Jimmy, and that was to do work. That was for taxes and things. Right? Otherwise, no. Okay? So, why would that be? Why would a man who heard his good friend say in 2003, Most High has searched, he said, Yahweh, the Father has searched the earth to join you to this man here. He was talking to me, but he was pointing to Steve in 2003. Why would the man who sat and heard the Most High had sent someone that he searched the earth for? What does that mean? There's one of a kind, and again, I'm not bragging, but if someone searches the earth and they find you, it's needless to say you're the only motherfucking whatever it is that's there, of whatever it is that they're looking for, if they find that in you, right? That's safe to say if you search the world and you found one, right? So, Jim Schneider, senior minister at Beth Tome of Vermont, Rutland, Vermont. Okay, look it up. I'm not lying. He told me, 2003, he was the first, maybe the first one to call me out, I'm going to say. Single me out. Okay, in front of the entire people that I mentioned in these journals. Many of these people were there at that time. Many of them. 21 years ago. 777. Okay? So, even hearing all of that, Steve, the one big on sonship, okay, the one big on being a spiritual father, he talked about that all the time. Sonship and being a spiritual father, and that holds weight when it comes to me and our relationship and all of that. Steve, let me ask you a question. If you spent 20 years with Kim and she turned around and left your ass after all that you have done for her, with her, together, build memories, 3 kids, 4 actually, 1 is sown, all that you've been through, she just left one day, didn't give you notice, didn't say nothing, just pop smoke on your ass. 20 years. What would you say? What would you think? And what would you do? I'm going to just leave that right there. But he came to me, or Chris, and he was asking me, that is going to hit home. That is right there. That right there, that's going to hit home. That right there, plastered in the ethers. That right there that I just shared. That scenario I just went through, I hope your heart chakra's ready. So yeah, he said he had a question for me about taxes or something like that. And I told him, I said, the name Chad is meaning something to me. I told him, I said, yeah, I said, but don't ask me anything about the Scorpio or the Rock of Central Florida and why I'm no longer there. He said, okay. I don't think he really had a question about taxes. I think he was just really trolling. But I shut his ass down when I said, don't ask me anything about the Scorpio or why I'm not at the Rock anymore. Nosy ass. 3-2. Again, what I say today is not out of anger. I have nothing but agape love for them, as much as I can give them from a distance. Whatever that is. That's what I have for all of them. Okay? Nothing harsh, nothing mean, just boundaries. That needs to be a t-shirt. Nothing harsh, nothing mean, just boundaries. Don't go away mad, just go away. 3/12/23, dream. A letter being delivered. Legal procedures, white envelope. 3/15/23. One person flying on, one person flying on Delta. Why does it look like my handwriting is awful? One person flying in on Delta from Paris. I'm definitely glad I'm going back. And this was just a year ago. I'm definitely glad I'm going. Because these things right here, this is happening. So I thought about a book. I won't call it what the title is, right? Or what I wrote down as the title. But it's going to be based on the true story of a karmic twin flame relationship is the name of the book, or the gist of the book. And I am going to write that book. Okay? I wrote that number down. You see that 2313? That's an 8. Someone called me. Let's see. My sister, one of my sisters, in a house, this is a dream, on 3/22/23, in a house I feel like was a trailer for some reason. I am laying on one of the couches. Someone else is laying on the other couch. And what did I write there? Oh, female was laying on the other couch. Okay. Initially, I was dozing off, and an infant female joined me by laying on my chest. So this baby appeared. Again, we had something about twins or something, right? Of course, I embrace her. I wake up. That's just another promise. I shouldn't say just, it's another promise. Did not sleep during normal sleeping hours last evening. So, yep, there was spell work, or I needed to be awake or something. Okay. Midday yesterday, started having several middle back aches. Okay, so let me talk about, so when you're ascending, so I was coming out of the dark night of the soul, a couple months out of the dark night of the soul at this point, still had some deaths to happen, and you'll see that in this journal. You will see, yeah, it gets pretty ugly. These were severe pains in the middle of my back, okay? Again, the fluid that flows up and down your vertebrae. There's 33 of them, as a reminder. I know people get tired of hearing that. There's 33 of them, as a reminder. Okay, Yeshua is the second Adam, 33. That's how long he was here. Okay, so him, Adam, the original 3. Okay, so those pains are ascension pains. Okay, and so you might have headaches, you might have joint aches, you might have back aches, right? These things, headaches over your eyes and things like that, when you are going through the dark night of the soul, or when you are ascending, and you ascend several times over one lifetime, hopefully. Okay, and so so if you ever experience any of those things, especially like we just had last month, March, was it April? No, March, April. We just had a Mercury retrograde. Okay, and that Mercury retrograde, during that and after that, there was a lot of ascensions and things like that happening within the high vibration earth angels, healers, empaths, light workers, starseeds, so on and so forth. Those things, again, the body can barely contain piss when you got to go real bad, right? The body cannot contain esoteric, supernatural, etheric ascensions and growth. Your body can't contain. I mean, so it's going to have some aches and signs of ouch. Okay. So just so that we're aware of these things. Okay. All right. Okay. So I couldn't do anything I couldn't get in a comfortable spot the whole night. So I was flipping and turning, but that was the dark night of the soul. I don't know if I understood that at the time completely. Or if I understood, I don't know, maybe I might have thought it was something else initially or something like that. But eventually I realized what was really going on, okay? Back pain is releasing the Scorpio situations and karma. Thank you, Source. Right? So I knew what was going on, but I still didn't sleep that night. And I literally had to stand up for, I think, most of the day that day. It was not comfortable. It just wasn't. Okay? 3/26/23, 26/26, 23/23. Dream. You see how often I'm dreaming? And that's typical for me. Even before Dark Night of the Soul. I am in a room where everyone is wearing a mask. Like the company, like they sold during the pandemic is what I was saying. So everyone has a mask like that on, okay? That was 3/26. 3/28, a dream. Happy times. I sense I've met her during rest. I woke up refreshed, excited, and knowing there is a soulmate out here that is available or will be soon, even if it's just, it says even if it's just a day. Refreshing. So I had come into the realization of, and again, this is something I have to remind myself, and I just reminded myself, or my higher self just reminded the flesh that of this just recently in the last 24, 48 hours, just reminded me of this. And so this is good. Thank you, Most High. Thank you, Divine. Thank you, Ancestors. Thank you, Ptah, my Lord. Thank you. Okay. So this helps me as a reminder for me to really, and this is really, really, really tough. I can't really put into words. My vocabulary is not large enough to put into words. The word that exactly explains the challenge that this presents to me, and I don't know if there's a lot of people that feel this way, but this is how I feel. So, it's a challenge to know, and it's good that Most High does not dispel everything to us at once. We would be devastated. We wouldn't know what to do. Like our mind would probably just literally implode. It would just like go. Like, really? All the ups and downs and twists and turns, and like there's no way Most High will share all of that with us at one time. Okay? Not unveiling it all. Our higher self knows it all. Right? But you can only, and I've ascended fast. Right? I don't know, again, and I only know that because my ancestors. That's the only way I know that. They tell me things, right? That's the only way I know. So, yeah, there is someone out there, somewhere over the rainbow, way up high in a land that we dream of once in a lullaby. Who's the guy who sings that song? Hawaiian guy. He passed, but yeah, that's a great song, man. That is such a feel-good song. That's one of the best feel-good songs I've probably ever heard. Other than I see trees of green, red roses too. Anyway, I'm clowning. Okay. So, dream or dreams of a gray Mercedes SUV and driving it somewhere. More soulmate dreams and moments. Oh, okay, that's why I had the big S. See, I do everything, or at least most, not everything that I do is so, I don't know. But I put the large S there for a reason, and I knew I did, okay? So, 429:23, Matthew, the neighbor is the neighbor's father at the house that I lived in Deltona, helped me fix the fence. And so Matthew, brother who passed on 8/4/21, who's 13 months younger than me, Matthew, that's also significant for the Rock of Central Florida, Matthew helped me mend fences. So I also had a dream about Matthew. We covered in this journey earlier, yesterday or the day before, when I had a dream or vision that he was helping me get out of there. He was literally driving the car. I've never been in a car with him in the natural, in the 3D, where he was driving. By the time he could drive, I don't even know if he ever had a driver's license. I was in the military. I don't know, you know? And then when I would come home, unfortunately, he was incarcerated lots of the time, okay? So, yeah, I don't know if he ever had, but I had a dream that he was helping me get out of Florida. True story. And again, I wrote it down in the journal. We covered it the other day. Okay? What a twin flame looks like. Okay? Now, just because this is what it looks like, I will tell you, we have choices. Okay? So it doesn't matter what this says, because I'm realizing this, Most High is showing me this after he got me out the shit. After he had me leave religion. After cord cutting and all of that had started, Most High was showing me this. Okay? So let's take a look. Illinois, me, Ohio. Oh, so my information's on the left, her information's on the right. Illinois, Ohio. November, 29th, 13th. 16 days. Apart, that's an 8 and an 8. 74. Reload to Florida from the Midwest. Volusia County. Confirmation burp. Excuse me. We both know Justina Miranda, she's the link, or Rodriguez, she's the link between us. Kidney transplant, kidney removed. And again, if that's true, okay? I have, me and a lady that I was seeing, we have given to adoption. The Scorpio has adopted. Thought I heard something. Okay. 868 was my address in Deltona. 1421 was hers. Okay. Add those numbers up. Okay. 5123. Oh, so I had a dream that Nikisha and one of her sons showed up unexpectedly. Back door of the house I'm in currently. Isn't that interesting? I haven't seen Nikisha since we were kids, not face to face. I've talked to her on the phone. What is that about? Interesting. Fedora vision about being with the few people and the men wearing these hats. So they were wearing fedoras. And one of them said something about how to wear it. And I said, I do. So he was like, wear it like this or something. And it said, happy to know I wear it. Oh, okay. So then he was like, yep, that was the way to do it. And I was happy to know that I wear the hat properly. Again, that's not a literal thing. I don't even have a fedora today. Okay. So it's not a literal thing, but it's a spiritual, esoteric confirmation that you are doing things correctly. Whatever track I was on, wherever road I was going on, wherever I was, my energy was on 5/1/23. Most High was saying to me, you're in the right spot. Okay? All right. So, you've heard these names, Archie and Tamara. Would not hug me. I had this dream. Would not hug me. Okay? All right? So, and then I put some choice words down there. It starts with an F and ends in uck. And then y'all. Anyway, again, today, I've released all of that. Okay? But that's what a journal is for. It's for releasing all that. I didn't call them and say it. Most High was like, write it down. Angels, ancestors like, write it down. So I wrote it down. Release it. Nothing happens until the pen is poised above the paper. Okay. I see Vanessa Bautista's name in there. I don't know what the significance of that is. So I was getting downloads about Rico. I didn't know what Rico. Well, I know what Rico is. I grew up with a teenage friend named Rico. He was good friends with me and Scott. Basketball together. He jumped off the roof of Scott's house one. I'm going to say one. He probably did it several times. And from the ceiling or the rooftop into the pool of the house, he could have easily missed and hit his head on the concrete. Rico was, yeah. His legal first name is Wilmer. Okay, by the way. Okay. So met him when I was 16, General Cinema Theater. When the bulk of those who I consider friends today still are, So completed. So I looked up Rico. I was like, what's Rico? What's Rico? What's Rico? So I wrote down Ontario, Rico. There's several places named Rico. There's Rico, Arizona. There's Rico Law, 1970 Rico Law. Okay. Right. Top 2 messages. Reply to. Interesting. So I don't know. Oh, maybe I was listening to something and I was writing something down. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and actually finish up here. I didn't realize we had surpassed an hour already. So I'm going to stop it here. We'll pick back up perhaps tomorrow. Thank you so much as always for tuning in. This is The Encourager. My name is Nehru. And thank you so much, as always, for sharing your love, your time with me. Because again, as we read in this journal that I wrote, wherever we spend our time gets our attention. And so thank you, because our time is truly our most valuable resource that we have, and so we need to use it wisely. So thank you so much as always. If you'd like to get in touch with me, the information to reach me will be included in the information section of the video. Thank you so much, and be encouraged.